Hello! Tonight, I'm running a D&D session, and I just thought I would record myself prepping for tonight's session and then make it a time lapse and just kind of talk about what I do. I just started playing D&D for the first time last November, last year, 2019. So this is the party that I play with. I am the cleric. I'm the only girl character. And for this time, I don't remember when exactly we started. Maybe I have it logged somewhere. I guess we started in May, so I decided to try to DM a game with some of my other friends. Some of them are former classmates or actually former students for a couple of them, and my sister, my cousin, and just other friends from around Kansas City. So we've been playing through the Lost Mines of Phandelver, and I've been using Roll20 for us to play online, which actually has turned out pretty well. The other D&D game that I've been playing as a player, we started off in person, and then we've just moved to kind of online theater of the mind style. But this one, I thought it would be hard for my friends to kind of get into the numbers and stuff, since that they're all pretty new to D&D. I think only maybe one or two people had played it before, and I didn't want to scare them away with the math, so we used D&D Beyond to create character sheets and kind of take care of inventory stuff and all of that, and not have to worry about the math as much. And then I moved their character sheets into Roll20, and we use that for rolling for damage and rolling to hit and all of that stuff, and just keeping track of the game maps and things like that. So something that's been kind of cool about doing it this way is it feels a lot like video game development for me. I get to make a lot of graphics, but I don't have to animate them, so that's nice. I just make these little minifigures. I took the maps from the book that came with the campaign, and I basically did a trace so that I would have a map without labels that I could use in the game. And then it's just been a lot of fun to create a bunch of different minifigs and make these characters and use this whole program. At the moment, they're in the Cragmaw Castle. I have kind of like a diagram of relationships between different NPCs and stuff going on, and then I also just keep like a text file of notes, especially like a synopsis of the previous session, so that they can figure out what they're doing, since we meet only once every other week. So here I'm just making a map to the Wave Echo Cave, but I decided to put Thunder Tree on there as well, since the party had intended to go to Thunder Tree at some point, but got variously sidetracked by different things. So I'm just putting it there to maybe, encourage them to go to Thunder Tree before going to Wave Echo Cave, because they're currently only level 2. They haven't done a lot of story-based missions. I should probably level them up, but they spent a whole session one time on a custom little side story that I made, which didn't include a lot of fighting. I should have leveled them up, though, just for solving the mystery of how did Benetti, the coffee maker in Yartown, disappear. But they're currently in Cragmaw Castle, so they're probably going to find some more information about the story here tonight. And I don't know if they're going to go to Wave Echo Cave, and so I spent a lot of the time here prepping for Wave Echo Cave, but I'll probably try to steer them towards Thunder Tree or one of the other side quests, which I have already actually prepared. So a lot of that stuff is done as far as the maps and the enemy placement goes, and then for this today prepping, I just basically went through the campaign book, went through all of the rooms that they had listed, put in all of the enemy placements and the treasure boxes and stuff like that, and set up Wave Echo Cave. So a lot of it is having to draw new minifigs for any characters that I didn't already have. Like I had not yet drawn Gundren, So I needed to draw him because he needs to be captured in the Cragmaw Castle. And then I also decided to draw his brothers because one of them is dead and the other one is imprisoned somewhere. So, like, I don't spend a whole ton of time on the minifigs. I just kind of draw a head and kind of a rough body outline. But it's good enough, since I don't know if people zoom in a lot when they're playing, but I stay pretty zoomed out while I'm DMing. And you don't get to see the characters like at a super high quality anyway, so just kind of simple minifigs is fine. Here I'm just setting up the room labels where only I can see the names of the areas, and then I'm going to set up, here's the corpse of Tharden? Whatever, one of Gundren's brothers, and I'm going to set up the different monster mobs, though I'm going to do this wrong the first time because I'm still on the GM layer, but we'll just watch me draw an ochre jelly. So I just kind of take whatever I want to do, make them look kind of silly, and then put it in the game. So again, none of us have played D&D for very long, so none of us are really that up to date on the lore, because I have only done a little bit of research based on the other campaign that we're playing to try to figure out what we need to do and what to be aware of, because there's some demons or devils or something like that going on, but you know, everyone else seems to know a lot more about D&D in that other session I'm playing. I'm just like the newbie. But you know, I've read through this campaign book, so I at least know kind of what's going on with this campaign, and that's kind of all I'm worried about. I'm not worried about the larger lore of everything. So I'm just setting up mobs and all of these, and I like to give the monsters names as well. So I set it so that the party can see these mob names, because it's not really important for them to guess the names of these enemies, but I just think it's kind of funny if they have silly names to go along with it. And it's been kind of interesting to like play D&D for the first time, because, you know, growing up I played so many video games and I've just been in the video game world, and clearly I've seen influences to D&D everywhere, and I've played like a little bit of Eye of the Beholder on Super Nintendo and I don't know, other things just based on D&D, but you just don't realize how much different it is until you actually play with other humans, where there's not really a restriction in the content, especially with like Theater of the Mind, that like anything can just happen, and also just interacting with other humans who are weird and funny and just do whatever they want to do, have their own motivations, and you can't predict their motivations, only they know their motivations. So just the whole world of like being a character and building relationships with these other characters and interacting with them is just so much different from any sort of video game that I've ever played. So it's been pretty interesting, and I hope the people playing in my campaign are also enjoying themselves. And here I'm gonna draw, what is it, a spectator, like kind of like a beholder. I don't know if they're related because I am a newbie, but yeah, we'll make him cute looking instead of horrifying. So yeah, and then I'll like, you know, use the GM notes in Roll20 to just leave myself notes about the treasure. The characters might see the treasure chest, but really it's just there to remind me that, oh, they could find something here. So just reading through the book notes and setting all of this up. So how long did it take me to prep this today? I started at 8:45 a.m. and now it's 11:30 and I'm recording this, so it's been a little while. If it was a smaller area, it wouldn't have taken so long, but it's good to at least get this done, so maybe this next session or the session after that they'll be here. And, you know, if they finish this campaign, we're going to have to figure out something else to do. I'm going to have to find another campaign book, because I'm not a good story writer. I don't know what to even make. So I'll have to do some research on that. So I'm really going to try to steer them away from Wave Echo Cave. I'm making these little question mark blobs to mark on the map because they haven't really gone exploring anywhere, and maybe this will get them to go look in some other areas that I already have pre-prepared so they can do some more searching and fighting and leveling up. Or maybe they'll go to Wave Echo Cave and it will be really hard, and maybe maybe they'll retreat, or maybe they will be stubborn and try to continue going through. Um, so I've set up like this little Coneyberry village. That's where the Banshee is, and I'm gonna put some treasure there just to encourage them to explore more, because sometimes they just don't explore much and they lose out on a lot of treasure. um, but yeah, I guess that would be my fault as a game designer for not doing a better job, but it's my first campaign, so, it's ongoing. I'm looking forward to picking up another campaign book and something maybe a little longer and with more kind of, I don't know, what would you say? Like a storyline that has multiple arcs, or like sub arcs in different locations. Because I felt that this one was overall like kind of linear. Like I would like to have there be a little bit more mystery in the town between the characters rather than just kind of having, oh well, it's kind of bespoke in a way. Like this person needs you to go here to do a thing, this person needs you to go here to do a thing, and none of it really ties back in together. I've added a little bit of that in my diagramming just to try to make up um, relationships between the Phandalin NPCs. But yeah, that's, you know, I, I don't know, it's a starter campaign, so it shouldn't be too complicated, right? Um, Here's a look at some of the game art I've did. These are the different character portraits, and a bunch of different minifigs. They never found Droop, which makes me a little sad. I made a character portrait for Droop, and no one found her. And then here are the different maps that I've made. So most of them are just traces of the maps from the campaign book. And then I've made like one extra map for a side thing. I did make one little custom game, one little quest side, because my sister and my cousin and I all grew up in Raytown, Missouri, so I wrote this like whole mystery based on just characters I made up to be in this Raytown, or in the game, Yartown. Um, all about the coffee shop Benetti's closing, because that's where, well, it was the best coffee shop in Raytown back in the day, but at some point they closed. So I made this whole map. I made some different restaurants because Raytown like basically just has fast food and that's it. And so I based the game map off of Raytown, both specifically like 350 Highway and Raytown Road, so you can kind of see instead of Blue Parkway, it's a Bloop Parkway, and some other things. So I made the different restaurants, and it was just like this whole murder mystery about competitive restaurants in Yartown. So they all seem to have a lot of fun there. So yeah, that's all I got. Sometimes I do time lapses of me working on video games or game art, so I thought it would be interesting to also do a time lapse of my D&D stuff.